Hey, Richard Beach here from Sonic State Amp, that's Sonic's guitar channel, and today I have something I've been looking forward to for months now. It's the Wampler Dual Fusion pedal. It's the Tom Quayle, the modern fusion guitarist's signature pedal, and yeah, basically this is a continuation of the amp-in-a-box idea that Wampler have done before. So what Wampler did, got together with Tom, took two of the pedals from Wampler that he uses in his rig, which are the Paisley and the Euphoria drive pedals, and they basically wanted to refine it and make it slightly better. So what they've done is put two distortion circuits, or two drive circuits, into one pedal. And this is like an amp in a box. Wampler have done it before. It's the same idea, so if you're used to getting your distortion from an amplifier rather than from pedals, then this should be quite intuitive for you. And yeah, I'm just really excited about it. First got a real glimpse of it at NAMM this year, so let's get down to business. My rig, just to have a look at this, I'm at the moment using a Fender American Telecaster, just standard telly, and it's with two Fender single coil pickups. And I'll be switching to a Gibson Les Paul with slightly higher output P90s, just so you can see what it sounds like with higher output pickups. Then I'm going, I've got a splitter that is then splitting my signal into stereo, which is then going into the two inputs on the amplifier. I'll explain what this does, sorry, the amplifier, in the pedal, I'll explain what this does in a second. And then that's coming out of two outputs, one of which is going into the Egnater Rebel 20 amplifier, which is hooked up to a Dragoon 2x12 cab with vintage 30 Celestion speakers. And the other is going into the Vox Bruno 18 watts amplifier. And both of those are mic'd up with SE Electronics Voodoo VR1 ribbon microphones. So why all of the complicated circuitry? Well, basically, this pedal acts really well if you're using like a loop system, if you've got, or an AB system or something like that, if you're using two amplifiers and you've got different effects going out to different parts of the chain. And basically, if you're using a complicated pedal setup, you can use this to split your tone, send it out to two different places. And what you can do is go through one channel. Basically, my guitar's going into the pedal, going through channel 1, out into the Vox Bruno. It's also going out of channel 2, which is the modern, more high gain sound, and out into the Egnater. So it means I can stack up my sounds and get a real blend of different distortion sounds and different clean tones and crunch tones and do a lot with it. So let's demonstrate that. So here's my dry signal. Right, and now I'm going to bring the vintage channel in. You can see the settings on there at the moment, and that's going out to the Vox Bruno, so I'll have a clean sound on the Egnater and a slight crunch sound on the Bruno. So here we go. Okay, and now I'm going to bring the Egnater in, stack that on top as well. So here we go. Okay, so that's what that sounds like on Telecaster with fairly low output single coil pickups. I'm now going to switch to the Les Paul and get a slightly heavier, more distorted sound out of it. Right, so obviously I'll get quite a different tone if I have both, say I have both sections of the distortion on. If I was going into channel 1 first and then putting channel 2 after that, I would get a much different tone as channel 2 first and channel 1 after that, even if both settings were the same throughout. So what I've done here is I'm going to 1 first and then into channel 2. So to do that, I have to go into input 1 and then come out of output 2. And then I have to switch this top switch here. I was on separate before, which is the middle setting. I have to switch that over to the right, where it says 1 to 2. So pretty much as simple as that. And here's what my clean setting sounds like. I'm just going through the Egneter now, so the Bruno is no more. Here we go. And then I'm going to bring in the channel 1, the vintage channel. So it's a little bit too much gain for me, so I'm just going to take the drive down a little bit. Here we go again. Let's hear what that channel sounds like on its own on a higher gain setting. Right, so now we're going to bring channel 2 in, stack it on top of that. I'm just going to bring the gain down slightly, which would sound like this. And let's bring channel 2 in. So you can see there's a good range of sounds available from that. There'll be plenty more. I don't have time to show you all of them, but what I'm going to do now is switch the two channels around, put channel 2 first and put channel 1 after it. So all I have to do here is switch into input 2 and then come out of input 1, and then this switch here goes over to the left. It says 2 to 1. So for the purposes of this bit, I'm going to treat channel 2, the modern channel, as basically the lower gain of the two channels. So I'm going to have it on a lower gain setting, and then I'll switch that around and show you what that does. And channel 2 is going to stack up on top of that afterwards. So here's my clean sound. cheesiest chord sequence in the world. And I'm going to bring channel 2 in. So you can hear in terms of tonal variation there, when you're going into channel 2 first and then coming out of channel 1 puts a much more kind of vintage flavour onto channel 2, so you're getting a lot more channel 1 in the sound, it sounds like, in the tone. And that results in a more Hendrix-like tone, much more 60s feel about it, and completely different to the tone I had the first time around, which when I was playing blues stuff was a bit more of a Gary Moore style blues sound as opposed to like an Eric Clapton one. And when I was playing smoother stuff, it was that modern fusion sound that Tom Quayle and all those great guitarists are known for. So the versatility is just incredible, and what I'd like to do is just pick a few of my favourite sounds and go through them. So if we take a look at the settings on the pedal, at the moment I'm just going through channel 1, and I'm going to build up in terms of distortion when I'm going through these examples. And I've got the drive quite far down, the volume just over sort of noon, about 1 o'clock, and the tone I've actually dialed down a fair bit to about 11 o'clock, because I think that this channel has a lot of high mids in it, and I don't want so much of them. And yeah, it's just a really nice bell-like. Some people are going to hate me for using the word bell-like, but it's a really nice Vox-style guitar tone. And then if I go back to the pedal, I can go from smooth to fat, and you probably won't hear much of a difference here. I barely heard any difference in the room. What it actually does is affects the drive knob, so the more drive I have in the mix. So here's another tone I quite like. So you can hear what that's really doing. It's just pushing the the distortion more in the mids. Basically, you're getting more of that mid-range coming through, which is good if you want some, basically a lead sound. You want it to cut through the mix a little bit more. So what we have here is basically the drive affects the volume slightly, like you would expect on an amp, and I like that. It's intuitive if you are using an amplifier. So if you push the volume all the way, you can hear you get a lot of volume coming back in, but the drive does a similar thing to a lesser extent. And that's good, it's really handy, it feels like I'm using an amplifier. So here's what it sounds like on full gain with a decent amount of volume, and I'll give you a bit more tone to see what that sounds like on the fat setting. So more mids in the mix, basically. So to me, it's quite a delicate sound, you know, it's got lots of dynamics in it, it responds quite well to your playing. So now let's go into the modern section. So if I switch now, this switch here to the throaty setting, again this is affecting the gain, and you'll hear the difference between these two. So the throaty setting just has a lot more presence, a lot more growl to it. You would basically, well, I would use it if I was going to do a solo, or like a really, I guess, like heavy metal, almost thrash guitar part. So let's try it out on that. Let's push the gain. Okay, so just so much fun to mess around with this, and it's basically just like having a rig in front of you in a tiny little box. And yeah, I don't have anything bad to say about it. It's like I rarely do with Wampler pedals anyway, as people will know. But I just love the variety of tones, and the thing I particularly love is I really like the sound of my Agneter, which I'm going to put on standby for a second. But this can make my Agneter sound like a Vox. It can make it sound like an old Fender amp. It can make it sound like a much more modern, like a 100-watt head style amp rather than just like a small 20-watt head. And it's really cool. I think I didn't really have any thoughts about purchasing this before I tried it with 2 amps as well. I think that's a really good feature about it, the fact that you can run it out to 2 amps, you can A/B switch, and you can just stack and blend in so many different ways that unless you really don't like distortion for some reason, then you're easily going to be able to find a blend of sounds or some sort of stacking option that is going to appeal to you and that is going to sound like something that you want. So just, yeah, a good job from Wampler as usual. And I just can't think of anything bad to say, apart from the fact that there's maybe a bit too much mid-range or high mid-range in the vintage. But that actually, the fact that you can just reel that off quite easily, it's better to have too much than not enough. So that's a positive from that as well. So if you want one of these pedals, or you're even interested in knowing more about it, go to wamplerpedals.com, and there you can purchase the pedal for about $255 US, which isn't a crazy price considering what you're getting here. It's at the high end of the sort of boutique distortion market, although someone at Wampler might kill me for calling them boutique again. That's just a mark of quality rather than saying they're a small company, because they're actually growing. But yeah, if you want to go there, check it out. And also, please go to our website, which is sonicstate.com/amp. That's the guitar section of Sonic State. And there you can find guitar news, you can find loads more reviews and demos, and basically just lots of stuff for guitarists. So thanks for watching. I've been Richard Beach, and hopefully see you again soon.